Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Founder Stories by TeamWave. And our today's guest is Nick Jordan, who is the CEO of ContentDistribution.com. So ContentDistribution.com is a company that has helped their clients grow organic sessions and organic visitors. So basically, they help their brands to get out to a larger online target audience. Is that correct, Nick?
Yeah, we build massive online audiences through organic search. And, if you stay along for the next 15 or 20 minutes, you're going to find out why we're not like any other SEO vendor you've ever heard of.
Yeah, sure. And my first question would be we would love to hear from the founder himself, what is this ContentDistribution.com?
Yeah, so ContentDistribution.com is, I hate this word, but it's an SEO agency. I typically like to refer to as organic search. And we've been able to take 4 projects from 0 to 100,000 organics per month. The biggest is now doing over 500,000 organics per month. And it's a startup in San Francisco, and it's backed by Andreessen Horowitz and Peter. In the process of taking this project from 0 to 500,000 organics a month, our team grew from 1 person to 25 people last year in 2020 during the pandemic remotely.
Oh, great. And how did you come up with this idea first?
As an entrepreneur, I'm a fan of the least resistance, the path of least resistance. What's a good idea for you might not be a good idea for me.
Yeah.
And, at the time that I started content distribution, providing SEO services was the easiest way for me to make money after just leaving an SEO agency. But before that, spending 8 of my 8 years in early stage SaaS companies.
Okay. So how did you find your first customer? Because when we talk about SEO, you don't like the term SEO, but when we talk about digital marketing agencies, SEO agencies, there are so many out there. So how did ContentDistribution.com stand out? How did you pitch to your first customer?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the one thing that I do you won't see very often is I create my own internal case studies. So I had spent 8 years in early stage SaaS as like a sales guy. And I wanted to re-skill my career and transition to marketing. And so I joined a marketing agency to lead sales. And I knew that in order to sell well, that I would have to actually learn how to do the service that I was selling. And I did. And I grew the agency that I worked at. I grew their blog from 0 to 100,000.
Wow.
And when I left the agency, I knew that I just had a single data point, and that I knew I didn't have the trust and credibility that my brand needed to work on the kinds of projects I thought I was capable of working on. Because when you start as a consultant, most of the time you're starting with small and local businesses, solopreneurs. And if you spend too much time there, you're never going to make any progress. You're not going to hit your financial goals. You need to level up to bigger and bigger and bigger projects as soon as you can. And so I built a company or a project called doggypedia.org. It was about pets. And I grew it from 0 to 100,000 organics a month. And plan A was to get rich. Plan B was to create a great case study to make money on consulting. Didn't make plan A, but that case study directly led to that, all of my future deals.
Okay. So you used to show that as a proof to the audience, to the new customers.
That's exactly right. And it allowed me to ladder up and level up very, very quickly. I didn't have to spend much time working with solopreneurs. Because that case study showed I could work with bigger businesses.
So actually you have a team of 25, right? So how do you have office, or do you hire them remotely?
So this is going to sound crazy, but I was living in Seattle and I hired my first team member in Belgrade, Serbia.
Okay.
And I flew to Belgrade to train her.
Oh,
and
wow.
After a couple of weeks, she's like, "Hey, I got an extra bedroom in my apartment. Why don't you just stay here?" And so I ended up living with my first team member for about 6 months before I got stuck outside of Europe when they locked the borders for Corona.
Okay, great. So so talking about Corona, how did that affect ContentDistribution.com? Did you have to pivot from any strategies that you usually do?
Yeah, up until that point, we'd been working together in the same living room. And when I had left Europe to go on a business trip, I told my team member, my employee number 1, don't burn down the company. I thought I was going to be gone for a month, and I'm now going on month 13 or 14. Okay. And it worked. It worked really well.
Oh, great. So did it affect the business during the pandemic? What about clients? What was their reaction? Were they continuing with this content creation works?
Yeah, I only work with high tech companies, and none of them really were impacted by the pandemic. Maybe they thought they were going to be impacted and they weren't, or they just raised $12 million and they literally have to spend it as soon as possible. It doesn't really matter the economic conditions; they just have to deploy the capital. So, the pandemic was the first year in my life that I feel like I've hit my entrepreneurial goals.
Oh, great, great. And how does the pricing of this contentdistribution.com work? So is it like per content basis or is it a monthly plan?
Yeah, we start off working on like, $3,000 or $5,000 a month projects, but right now we're working on projects of over $100,000 a month.
Okay, great. And when I was looking at your website, I saw the school tool cluster.ai. So I would love to hear from you like more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tool I've been using internally for the last 2 years. And, before I moved into SEO, I was in early stage SaaS companies my entire career. And, people know me as an SEO guy. Hopefully they know me as an SEO guru. But I identify as a founder, a marketer, and SEO is a tool in my tool belt. I identify as a sales guy more than I identify as an SEO guy. I'm not sure that answered the question.
Yeah, so no, but I want to know like the cluster.ai, how has that helped you in the content creation and the content distribution part?
Yeah, so I built this tool, I've been using it internally for the last year, and it's powered my crazy SEO case studies. And I decided to make it publicly available. And I'm very excited for that because, again, I have a SaaS background, and I like talking about funnels and product and not necessarily 301 redirects.
Okay.
And so, what this does is it removes the SEO skills required to get good SEO outcomes. If you look at my organization, there's only 2 people in the organization of 25 that knew SEO before they joined the team, me and our director of SEO. Everybody else, no SEO experience. But despite that, we are probably the top 0.001% of agencies, and we had the best SEO case study of 2020. And Cluster AI automates the keyword research and makes it easy for anyone to crush Google.
Okay, fantastic. And my next question would be like about your entrepreneurial journey. So how did you know, okay, you have to start your own company? Like you were working at some other place, right? So how was that experience? Like, how did you know you have to make that switch?
Yeah, so I had a really rough upbringing, not because like of anything my parents did. I was just a bad kid. I was a really bad kid. But fortunately, I was born in Seattle, Washington, home of Microsoft and home of Amazon.
Yeah.
And that means regardless of what happened, I'll probably end up working in tech. And that's what happened. And I feel like if I was born in, Arkansas or Alabama, I'd probably be working at a gas station or like shoveling dirt. And so I'm very fortunate to be born in Seattle. I dropped out of like 3 different colleges because I just can't learn anything I'm not interested in learning, and I just can't learn from a lecture style. And I ended up moving abroad to Brazil to teach English as a way to just take some time off and figure out what I was going to do. And while I was there, I realized when I get back, I'm going to have to work in a restaurant or manual labor. No one's going to hire me to do the things that I think I'm capable of doing. And when I got back, I started working on my own startups. I knew that, whether I was successful or not, I was going to learn the skills and meet the people to do something even higher impact next. And I spent the first, I would say 21 to 26, not making a lot of money. I launched 2 products. One of them made some money, one of them didn't, but neither of them were successful enough to continue. But I had failed enough and racked up enough accomplishments that a CEO I met at Hacker News Meetup in Seattle hired me as employee number 8. And they hired me for a role, an industry I didn't know existed, for technology I didn't understand. And I was just so inexperienced and unqualified for the role, but I got it. And we grew to 200 people in 4 years without raising any money, by making a ton of cash. And, outside of the CEO and the CTO, I probably had the most cross collaboration across the entire company because of my ability to get in early and my ability to learn anything that the role required me to learn. And so 1 week I'm helping GoDaddy deploy our APIs into their customer-facing control panel. The next week I'm negotiating with Sprint's legal team. The week after that, I'm helping AT&T train 100 sales agents on our products so they can sell it to their customers. The week after that, I'm flying to Barcelona to run a conference with all the telecommunication companies in the world. And I think that's where I learned how to do good work. And I attribute a lot of the success I've had as an entrepreneur to working for someone else. And when I look at my friends who went straight from college, either dropping out or graduating, to being entrepreneurs, I see them lacking a lot of just general best practices that you only pick up if you're working closely with people that are 10 or 20 or 30 years at the peak of their career every day for multiple years.
Oh, that's very inspiring. And yeah, the last point you said, yeah, they lack a lot of skills. They don't know like how when they work at other places, they get to know how the environment is, how the work environment is.
It's so basic too, just like sending a calendar item and naming it the person you're meeting with / your name - agenda, and then putting an agenda. I get just basic tiny things on how to communicate and work in teams and collaborate are missing from people who go straight from school to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, true. So, so what, as a founder, what is one big challenge that you faced and how have you overcome it?
I mean, every day is a challenge. I think the hardest part is consistency over long periods of time. I think careers are measured in decades. When I first started my first startup, I thought I might get rich next year, but I'm 34 now, 13 years later, and like I finally feel like with this 25-person team that I've accomplished something. And now that I'm here, I'm not happy. Like I got the thing that I thought I wanted, but it turns out the thing I got is what I wanted. I want more. It's not good enough. And so I think there's two things that's hard. Is one, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you can't consistently show up every day for decades, you're not gonna hit your goals. Talented basketball players who don't show up to practice get cut every day.
Cool.
The second thing is, I think consistency. I think consistency over long periods of time is the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah, true. It's hard to show up daily. But the people who keep on doing that, they are the ones who are successful.
Man, it's showing up daily. It's learning and not getting stuck in this particular area, and you keep on overcoming new challenges. It's being ethical and like morally sound, because those will catch up to you if you're not. Like, it's a lot. All of it's a lot.
Sure. And so now we are almost to the end of the session. So I had two fun questions for you, like personal questions regarding your favorite book, business book that you would like to recommend to us, business, marketing, anything.
Man, okay. Favorite business book. It is by this famous hedge fund billionaire called Ray Dalio. And I forgot the name. Oh, it's called Principles. I think it's Principles or Principles of Work. And basically he gives you the principles of how to do good work. And it's very simple.
Okay.
First you try, then you fail, then you measure, and you iterate. And you're just constantly looping up and to the right. And if you do that, you'll like hit your goals as long as you're following the loop. And I think about it a lot in all of my approaches to, oftentimes you don't have perfect information, and waiting will not get you more information. So the best thing you should do is act. That will force new information to appear, and then you can use that to, measure, iterate, and continue to act. And so if you haven't read Ray Dalio's Principles, it's great.
Wow, that's a great concept. Yeah, you rather than just keeping on learning, we should implement it as well.
Yeah, I think I'm drawn to entrepreneurism because I love learning. And, there's just a fractal. I created a maternity policy for like 18 women, last month. I never thought I'd do that. And then this month I'm diving into Airtable. And then next month, I'm like creating workshops for my managers. And like next month I'm like, launching a product. And so with entrepreneurship, you can just go as deep as you want, wherever you want, and just keep on learning, and you'll never not have challenges.
Yeah, you should be always curious to learn new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the second question is like one productivity hack that would you use, like anything, a productivity hack that you personally use to stay productive.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me show you this. Give me 1 second. So I'm an American, building a team in Europe, living in Asia, servicing US clients. So I consider myself a global citizen, and I move around a lot. And the thing that's hardest is I moved away from Seattle at a treadmill desk. I could walk while I work. And I love having a great work setup, but when you travel a lot, you're at mercy of the Airbnb chairs. And so we're launching a product for remote workers. And basically what it is it's a travel stand desk. It's called a remote stand desk. And it fits in your suitcase. And so
cool.
I can actually, I brought this from Asia, or sorry, I brought this from the US, and I'm in Asia. And here's the chair that I'm not sitting on. It's like a block of wood. You know, probably cost $2. And you know, if I had to sit in that chair for 8 hours a day, I wouldn't be as productive if I am, you know, I get to stand anywhere I go.
Oh, great. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else, any message you want to give to the entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs?
You know, it's all about consistency. You know, just keep on showing up again and again and again and again and again, and you know, never stop learning. And if you can do those two things, it might take a couple decades, but you'll eventually, you know, hopefully hit the goals that you're looking for. Second is, if you want to, you know, remote stand desk yourself, you can get it at strongerteams.com.
Yeah, definitely. And anything else that I missed out on that you want to add up to this?
Oh man, I don't think so. I think you know, I think we covered everything. I think we covered like the path of least resistance and just like do what's easiest for you personally. You know, we covered consistency.
Yes.
You know, I think we hit everything important.
Yes, yes. So it was great talking to you, Nick.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.